to Mind Our Business podcast, where we dive into life's challenges and triumphs while exploring the world of entrepreneurship. Here, you'll get real talk about real life and real business. So, our topic today is manifesting your life partner, y'all.
Yes.
Ooh, this is
Yay,
gonna
yay.
be good.
Yes.
Oh my God. I
Yes.
got so
Yes.
much to say.
Yes.
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about everything from dating to divorce to who you need to be to attract the partner that you desire.
Uh-oh.
That part.
Uh-oh. Y'all ready?
So, before we dive on into it, let's do some introductions. Who would like to start off just sharing your name and what you do?
I'm Simona, known as Mona Vintage. I'm a fashion stylist and a personal shopper, collaborating with women to create a unique look with them in mind.
Hey, I'm Gigi Garcia, owner and director of Moves Dance Academy and Vibe Together.
And I'm Tamika, your favorite certified recreation therapist specializing in inclusion and adaptive recreation and advocating for the rights of persons with disabilities as well as our older population.
And I'm Carla Shahid, the realtor and certified real estate planner, and I help people build, protect, and transfer wealth through real estate.
And I'm Dr. Carmen, your go-to PhD for menstruation mindset mentoring and perspective shifting group experiences. So let's get started with a quote, y'all. To kind of
Okay.
set stuff off.
Okay.
So we have this quote from relationship expert and love expert, Debrena Jackson Gandy.
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. So let me share this quote.
Okay.
She says, I think love relationships are a critical part of our lives. Whether we're in one or not, we still tend to think and obsess about them. I want us to
Obsessed.
That's a strong word, obsessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see us experience more joy in our love relationships instead of the massive breakdowns, frustrations, conflicts, and resentment that's abounding. Our hearts are too closed toward each other, and this can affect and infect every other area of your life.
Ooh.
That was a word.
In fact.
That was the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to take that word joy.
Yes.
Joy, because I just recently learned the difference between joy and happiness. You know, people say, I'm happy, and joy. So,
Really?
Yes. So, happiness is what's happening at that time, right? And when things are going bad or good within your community or on the outskirts, it affects you deeply within, okay? But joy is internal. Right. So joy is your feeling and your health, your well-being.
Right.
Within inside. And so when things happen on the outside, it doesn't affect you as much when you have internal joy. Does that make sense?
It makes total
yeah.
sense
Yeah.
because
Totally.
happiness is a state of being.
There it is.
So it's just a feeling that
Temporary.
you have. It's temporary and it's a choice. You can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. But when you do have that joy, you know, you can come back from that. You know, you don't have to stay down for so long. So I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like when it comes to happiness, it's really more like you said, Carla, it's a state of mind and just really embracing the moment, like being in the moment. And personally, I call that mindfulness and being mindful of, you know, your reality, where you are, you know, at that time. And knowing that what's right in front of you, you are embracing it. You know what I mean? And even the people around you. So, that's important. Mindfulness is very important to happiness.
Yeah.
Dr. Carmen, can you read that quote
That's what I was
again?
gonna ask
You
her.
was like just that
That's
part
that-
of the
it's that last
happiness
part.
part. The happiness part.
Okay, let me find it.
Go from the second sentence.
Yeah.
The second sentence down.
Okay. I want to see us experience more joy in our love relationships instead of the massive breakdowns, frustrations, conflicts, and resentment that's abounding. our hearts are too closed toward each other, and this can affect and infect every other area of your life.
Carrying on that baggage, carrying on the pain, right, from the past relationships, that stops you sometimes from being open to new relationships.
Or when people are in a current relationship that is not serving them, then there's no happiness or joy, and they still stay in it, and their hearts are closed towards each other due to silent resentment or arguments or other things too. So you can be in something currently and still have beef.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But for me, happiness and joy is interchangeable, because I'm happy when things are happening, but I'm also happy when I'm not doing nothing. I can have a lazy, and I'm just happy that it's quiet, it's peaceful. I pray in the mornings, like, I love quiet mornings, So, I understand that it is a deeper, working on joy, or it's how you look at things. I always think that I look at the cup half full versus half empty most of the time,
No, but doesn't it boil down to like your own personal healing and healing journey?
Absolutely.
Or your self-care.
100%.
Because when that word infect stood out to me, and I was like, ooh, because that trauma that you've experienced, and this can go all the way back down to like your childhood, things you've experienced in your childhood. There's a lot of families broken. Like I come from a broken house. Like my parents were divorced when I was really, really young. So I grew up with a single mother, and not having that father figure or that masculine energy around, where you have women, because I have all sisters, all women are just fighting for that leadership role type environment, and it was a struggle. It was like so I think that childhood, knowing what was going on in your childhood, and then figuring out like what was happening with you, and knowing why or how to heal that, so you don't journey and bring it into your present.
There it is.
Your relationships.
There it is.
Which includes your relationships, all relationships,
business and personal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we all bring some sort of baggage, if you will, or some sort of trauma, hurt, pain to every relationship. And when we're talking about relationships in terms of like intimate relationship with your significant other, they're also bringing that in. So it's like a fine tune of how how can you merge that in together and work together, if you will. And sometimes it doesn't, because one person might have mommy issues, the other person might have daddy issues, and then it's just there's conflict.
Absolutely.
But I agree, we have to, each relationship we have to learn, but we also have to be introspective and learn like, okay, what is it, what are my trigger points, what is it, and then resolve it. But I do believe that there's some people that can just bring the worst out of you. So you might be in a relationship that you love someone, but really
it's toxic.
It's toxic because they have their foot on your neck.
Been there, done that. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like, why am I acting like this? Like, I'm not feeling right. You know?
Why am I feeling violent?
Yes.
I'm supposed to be happy.
Yes. I know, because we don't know when to quit sometimes. We don't know when to let something go. Because you've been in this relationship for so long. You're like, I've invested all this time in it, and it's going to work.
But it doesn't want to win.
And it does not. Other things, because you could go hang out with your girlfriends and you have a whole attitude because this man has irritated you. So it is infecting. Or go to work and you're not as productive because you're so irritated about the argument this morning or last night or the comment or something you've seen on social media that pissed you off. So I get it.
So one time, I was in a 6-year relationship, and I remember it was just so toxic for me, but I did not know how toxic it was until somebody was like, boom. She was like, you are just irritable. And I was like, am I?
I said, your whole personality has changed. What is going on? I mean,
but I didn't know it, and that's the point. I didn't even realize that.
You don't realize.
And you gotta, and I just said, really? Okay.
I know you was like, what? I was like, wait.
But you gotta don't see it.
You gotta believe your friends, though. You have to believe your friends.
True. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
But I believed you.
Yeah. Because I was like, what the
hell is going on with her?
Yeah.
And then I think I'm a street therapist, so I'm always like, okay, go out, go here,
Not
go
a
to the
street therapist.
Yeah, street therapist.
You are?
Yeah.
What
Because I'm not sugarcoating stuff like a real.
What's a street
I'm not
therapist?
sugarcoating stuff like a real. I mean, like a real therapist. So I'd say, listen, you just need to go out, go date, have a weekend away, or like I called you during that relationship, say, go to the art and spa, go here, go there. I would give you recommendations so you guys can date and get out of that rigmarole that you were in at the time. And you say, wait a minute. You've been all these places and how long, so you remember this conversation?
Well, I guess I'm not a little streety. I'm a little street too because, honey.
Because I don't sugarcoat it when I talk
I
to my
do
girls. I
not
talk
either.
straight. So I'm always like, well,
No,
this is what you
I
got to
don't
do.
either.
So,
At all.
yeah.
So what does manifesting your life partner actually mean? Is that an energy thing? Is it a mindset thing? What does that actually mean?
I would think to me, it means you want to always be the energy you want to attract.
Yes,
but I
ma'am.
think that's
Say
what
that.
they say. Yeah, be the
Yeah,
energy
we
that
should
you want
pause
to
on that.
attract.
Yeah.
But sometimes opposites attract, and you find somebody with lower energy than you. But I do think when they say manifesting, that you are praying and wanting your ideal person, not just somebody you're attracted, but somebody you're attracted to, and mentally, physically, and emotionally, spiritually, that you have prayed for that. Or you like, I want the person I meet next to be, good for my children, good for my family, good that my friends will support this. So I think when you
So manifesting, I think for me, I'm more like Simona. I don't really use the word manifesting anymore. It's more of praying for my life partner because that's what my experience has been this last time. And so it's kind of writing down what you would like and what you feel you want in a partner.
Yeah.
And that's just to remind you of your standards and keeping those standards.
Mm-hmm.
But I prayed every single night. After I would meet somebody, is this the right person? Take him out my life, Lord. If he ain't right, help me, Lord. Just help me. And so that's kind of what I look at as far as if you would say manifesting, I would say praying it through.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have to agree with what you just said, and Lord knows that we have gone through it with these lists and everything. Like, I mean, what pros and cons lists, and then the manifestation or praying list, as you call it. But I met with a lady, Miss Ingrid, and she told me, she said, write down every single thing that you want in your partner, just everything, but do it the bare minimum. Like, so if you want somebody 6 feet, but would you take somebody 5'10" if they had everything else? The answer is yes. So it's like your bare minimum. So I went through that list. And at that time, I compared it to a partner that I was with, and she was like, you got to let that go. Oh. She said it just like that. You got to let it go because it doesn't. Why? And then she said, because what's going to happen is somebody's going to come along that has all of that.
Miss your blessing.
And then you're going to be mad, or you're going to, end up doing something that you shouldn't because this person has it. So basically that's settling. Mm-hmm. So that list, to me, I feel like by writing out that list, now I'm manifesting, or I'm putting it out there to the universe that this is what I want. So therefore, I'm going to attract that.
Okay.
And it also serves as like a guide too. So if someone comes along and they're a 46%er or a 30, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. We need to be 90 and above.
Wow, we doing percentages?
And we have done that. Let's be honest. We have done that.
Okay.
Yes. Because every now and then now I'm married now.
She's married.
But
because you was manifesting and praying.
I prayed him. Okay.
Absolutely.
But we have gone through that list. And you have brought it out and say, okay, well, let's see what the list say. And we've gone through it and it's like, okay. Right. He got it. He's there. Yes.
Yes.
But it keeps you accountable of this is what you're saying you need. And don't get lonely. Don't get bored. And don't lower your standards.
Yeah. That's the key thing. Don't lower your standards. And lonely is just a temporary thing.
It is.
You'll get past it.
It's like happiness.
It's just like happiness.
Yes. It comes and goes.
Like happiness. Yes.
I mean, I'm different, you know, when it comes to manifesting a partner. Like for me, I've completely switched my mindset to just being the version, like Simona said earlier, being the version I want to attract. So I am already believing and knowing that I'm with this partner. So I am living in the end. So I call it living in the end. And living in the end is the art of detachment. So you're not attached to finding a partner, and you're not attached to, going out and your intention is, I'm going to look cute because I'm trying to attract a man or this, that, and the third. No, I'm going to be embraced in my whole being because I truly love myself and I know 100% I am whole. And when I go out, I'm being me. And that vibrates a certain type of energy. And I'm telling you, men feel confidence.
Absolutely.
Men feel your confidence. And when they feel that confidence, it just draws them to you. So that's really, for me, that's how it's been. And then since I've changed this mindset, let me tell you, I have attracted from the low to the high. But now that I'm older, okay, now that I'm older, the quality of men are definitely night and day. So,
and to your point, Gigi, I wanted to say too, I haven't been manifesting or praying, or I just kind of go with the flow. That's my personality. If I bump into them, I do. If I don't, I don't.
It feels so good, though.
But I always want
people organically like that. Men
exactly. But one of my things is I say I always want somebody to accept me for me, so I never try to impress somebody. No, I'm not cooking every day. I don't feel like it. No, I'm not doing this every day. Yes, I am still going to do me. So I always say, I hope whoever I meet accepts me for me. Because I've had people that talk to me and then you're doing this too much and you're wearing too much hair and you're wearing too much cleavage or you're out too much or you're too, hold on. That's who you met. That's who you met.
Right.
Because I don't remember having a turtleneck in the library. So, and I thought you was in my inbox on Facebook. So, so I always wanted somebody to accept me for me or it won't work. And not that I can't make changes, but you still have to authentically accept
they can't just coming up in here and just changing stuff. Everything. No, you accept the whole package or you keep it moving.
Hello.
Wait, Simona says something, and this is very common, and most people think this, and I thought this until a few years ago. Opposites attract. Opposites attract. And so most people date their opposite. But for me, I always dated my opposite. I always did. Because opposites attract. Oh, he's different. Oh, he's doing something. I want to see this. I want to see that. Oh, that's cool. It's interesting because it's different. It's different. But then as time goes on, you're like, I'm not doing that no more. I don't want to do this, So my philosophy and what worked for me, because I had to do a whole mind shift after the last 6-year relationship. And I know opposites attract, but alike in similar values and morals and goals, those is what stay together. And that's just my opinion. But I sure want to hear what y'all have to say.
No, well, I was going to say, so the last guy I dated long-term, he says, opposites don't attract. That's the stupidest thing we could have fell for, just like multitasking. Somewhere it's overrated. So he says that, somewhere you're shorter. So he says, so opposites don't attract. So for that, I'm going to break up with you because you love being out, so go find a man at the bar. You love being social, so go be social. I want a girl who sits there and watch football with me and wants to chill. But you want to go party and brunch and then come over here. So guess what? We're not a fit. I'm not going to waste my time. So after 3 months of dating, he said,
for him to say
I thought so.
After 3 months of dating, he says, call your preacher. I said, call my preacher. Wait, hold on. He said, let's start doing counseling. I said, no, wait. I don't even, he's like, no, you're not into me. So I'm about to back up. So I'm like, no. He's like, no, I know when someone's into me. You'd be flattered. So like-minded individuals is a better fit. It made sense. But we were told. But I'm saying, even if I want to be the energy, sometimes I'm not going to find somebody this hyper as me or who's this is, so sometimes you do find somebody in the opposite. But, just because we attract doesn't mean we're going to stick or the magnets are going to stay.
I think when they say opposites attract, I think it just means more like I lack something that this person has the strength in. So it kind of like, but I look at it like, no, I need to be strong also in that area, whether it's communicating, whether it's stability, whether it's health, wellness, whatever, spiritual. I want to be 100% in that area as well. So when people say opposites attract, I fell for him because, she's completely opposite from me and this, that, and the third. But then you have people that say, oh, we have so much in common and all this. And that's fine too. But when it comes to the opposite, you got to really be careful when you attract somebody that's really not where you don't have anything in common, because it could deceive you. That person can deceive you because everything that's glitter ain't gold, or what did I
Or could you start liking some of the things they like? Or like I don't want to sit up and watch sports, but could I like them?
That's too bad, girl.
Yeah, right. You should have met Gigi.
Right.
You know, but I'm saying, sometimes they can't introduce you to something that you thought you weren't interested in, right? Or you didn't know, or you thought you knew that, and all
And
of a
that's
sudden,
experiencing.
That's
like
exactly
open-minded,
what it
right?
is. It's being
Too.
open-minded.
Right.
And I think when we talk about does opposites attract, and I think it can, but you have to have some commonality, something that brings you guys together, something that you guys both enjoy. So if you guys both enjoy the outdoors, you like to do outdoor sports or whatever that case is, but maybe you don't like sports and he loves sports, and maybe, I like wine and he doesn't like wine, but it's a fine tune. We have something that we can do together, like activities that we can do together. And of course you have to have the values and stuff. So I don't think you have to necessarily be like just like that person, because like maybe somebody that went out all the time would not work for you, because you guys will both be out all the time,
Right.
together or separate, and maybe that might not be good, So I think that having some differences, because differences allows you to grow too,
and learn
like
from each other.
Yeah.
Really, every relationship is going to come down to compromising something.
Absolutely.
So,
but not settling. So
there's a difference between settling and compromising.
Yes.
Settling is okay. I'm just so done with being alone. I'm done being
That's
single.
that 46%er. I'm sorry to say that. That's the 46%er.
That's a low value mindset.
Yeah.
But when you compromise, you're like, you know what? I really enjoy this guy's company. He may not want to hang out with me, or go to the games with me or whatnot. Actually, I don't even fool with men who don't watch sports anyway. But anyway, that's
No, you don't.
That's your standard.
That's something that that's part of me. That is me.
So I think at some point we have to remember to look for those red signs, and honestly, I call it the yellow flags, right? So when you are, dating that person, whether you initially feel opposite or you feel like they're very similar, while you're in that early stage, really ask those questions, really dig into seeing.
Do you think that may be too much, though?
No, it's not, because that's what I did.
I think at a certain age,
I'm
go ahead
speaking
and
from
ask.
experience. That's all I can do.
I hear you.
Also, people are not true when you ask them early on. I mean, they're so excited, they're so attracted, like, yeah, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be cool. Then you get into it,
but you can't do anything else but ask.
That's true.
I mean, what else can you do? Because you got to start to get to know them.
It's action too.
Yeah, their words
and having
actions.
it's actions, exactly, and having dates on when you're actually talking, not going out where you can't talk to each other, going to the movies, you can't talk to each other, having conversations and always talking, because guess what? A person going to show you who they are.
Oh,
and you want it as early as possible so they don't have to deal with all this crap that we deal with later.
I only do movie dates once we get in and get to really know each other. But in the beginning, we must be talking, and I don't even always cook. Let's let somebody cook for us while we talk. So
that's dinner girl,
right?
Dinner date
like,
girl.
Let's go on dinner, right? So let them cook so we can talk. Well, I gotta be, So anyway, but whatever works, until later on.
Yeah.
Then
they be looking for a wife, and after the first 2-3 weeks, they want all the benefits.
But that's
what they tell you. Though.
Well, that's what they allow it. A lot of women allow it. Yeah. So there's
and
allowing.
We can train that way.
Allowing.
You have to cook. You have to do this. You have to do that.
For your husband.
Yes.
We weren't trained that way.
But no, what I'm saying is a lot of us end up doing these things. We're being a wife and we're not a wife.
Without the title.
And so that's why I'm saying it's our fault.
Yeah.
For those that have done that, because I have done that.
Oh yeah, we've all done it. Yeah, I've done it.
And it don't work out well.
Okay.
Back it on up.
So before we are calling in the right partner.
Okay.
Before we're manifesting, attracting the right partner.
Okay.
Who do we need to be?
Oof.
What type of inner work do we need to do?
We need to be what we want to attract.
Emotionally stable and fit.
Correct.
That's top of my list. That's what I'm still working on and getting together for me, because there's a lot of things that trigger me that can affect my relationships, not just with men, but my business, my family, my friends, you know, so I want to make sure that I take care of that. And how do you take care of that? For me, you just put all your energy into yourself, you know, by being better, like elevating, well, what they say now, leveling up, you know, so doing things that you enjoy, eating better, working out.
And I
Getting
say
in
open-minded
nature.
and teachable. Being open-minded and teachable, because somebody can teach you something if you're open-minded.
But a lot of women, they get defensive. They get defensive and they get they shut off and they shut down when but see, that goes back to childhood trauma.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what
just
I mean?
not a fit then at that point.
Well, that's what that woman has to take accountability and run it back and be like, you know what, there's a lot of inner work and inner healing I need to do.
Yes.
I need to not focus on partnering with somebody right now because I'm not going to be an asset to this man.
Yeah, if you're not ready.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so you have to take accountability. You have to know that where you are as far as your healing journey and all that stuff. I mean, for me, healing is everything to attracting and manifesting a partner. Do that first. Seriously, ladies. Okay, do that first because you know, it may be hard, like you get lonely, you know, you want affection, you want love, you want affirmation, whatever, but none of that will matter if you can't give it to yourself.
Absolutely.
I think for me, and that what you said is just 100%. I think for me, what I really had to do was go back and like analyze everything. So the relationships that I've been in, what part did I play in the demise? What were things that triggered me? What allowed me to stay in a situation that I knew wasn't right?
Yes.
So for me, it was like really forgiving myself because I was like, oh my gosh, you know, just really upset with myself because when you talk about those yellow flags, the red flags, and all of that kind of stuff, and I feel like sometimes we can be addicted to those red flags because we feel comfortable with that. Yeah. And I think now I had to just say, you know what? I forgive myself. This was a part of my journey. This is making me who I am today. And quite frankly, I think before in the past, it was like to fulfill a void. Like I needed to fulfill the void of a relationship. Everything is working right in my life with the exception of a relationship. So it was just like going after, I'm going to go find somebody else or some, you know, because I mean, somebody is always in your DM. You know, somebody is always.
Okay, J-Lo.
Okay.
They stay in your
but just because you know, you don't have to entertain that. But I think the main takeaway that I got when we're talking about manifesting and being open is that, quite frankly, I am happy with myself today. I don't need a man or a partner. I don't need to be married. I think the thing is that I want it and I desire it. But if it doesn't happen,
you're okay with it.
I'm happy in my life. And I think that's the thing. The shift that happened with me is just being at peace with myself, forgiving myself for things and forgiving others too. Don't mean that I need to talk to them, but it's just forgiving, you know, just forgiving that and being at peace with that and being happy with myself.
Yeah, forgiving is just letting go because they have that stronghold on you still. You know what I mean? They have that spiritual
So now you're
hold
ready
on
to be whole for someone else.
You severed it away from your life and you're just like, okay, I'm done.
I'm done. Yep. I'm whole within myself. So that's therefore important. I can be whole to my partner that is coming.
So I'm kind of more on where Gigi is. I had to realize that I was being insane. Right? Because I was always going from relationship to relationship to relationship because I was like, well, Carla, fill in the void. Okay, out with the old, in with the new. Better it's easier to get over the last boo with a new boo, right? So that's what I had done all my life. And even my mama used to say, girl, she keeps them. She keeps a man. She always keeps a man.
Yep.
But after the 6-year relationship, I had to realize that I was drained. And if I want something different, a different result, I have to do something different.
That's
so that was the first time since the 8th grade that I took a break. And I said, I don't want a man. I'm not even emotionally ready for one. I was exhausted. I had to purge my house. I had to self-evaluate.
Yes.
And I said, what did I do wrong in every single relationship? What am I running from? Why am I attracting these same type of men that I don't want in the long run? Because remember, at that time, it was always opposites. It was always opposites.
Okay.
It was like, why am I trying? And I had to figure out all those answers, and that's being honest with yourself, right?
Yes.
I had to figure out all those answers, and I just went through this period of time, and it was from, was it April or May? Because you good with all my dates. When the 6-year relationship, I think
It was
because she knows.
I don't know in dates.
She knows. Listen, she knows. So it was
right
from
before the
that
camping
time.
trip.
It was from it was from that time to January of the next year when I was like, okay, no relationship. Work on Tamika and let's figure this thing out, right?
Yeah.
So that joy had to come in, and I did a lot of praying. I started reading that Bible. I started, writing down everything that I want in this man, and really just taking the time to say, okay, what do I need to do different? And honestly, I stopped listening to all women. I honestly started looking at podcasts that had to do with men saying what they're looking for.
That's what I was doing.
And and I think that's one of the issues that we do as women. We listen so much to our friends. Not to say we need our girlfriends.
Yes, yes.
We listen so much to our friends, and it's like they're not the ones we're trying to attract.
Right.
We need to hear from these men and what are they looking for.
Yeah.
And after doing all that stuff, it came to that January, and I said, Carla, I'm ready, and this gonna be my year. And I met my husband in February, and we were married in September.
Gone, girl.
Okay.
And
it worked.
It worked. And I was gonna say, after my dating, I wasn't so hurt, but I just took I was so tired of the BS.
Yes.
So I took a year off. And I went out and partied and traveled with my girls and had so much fun. And every time somebody asked for my number, I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm taking a break right now, but thank you. I'm taking a break. And I just wasn't even looking. And all of a sudden I went to a wedding last year and met somebody, but I was not looking. I was just like, okay, after the year went up, if somebody hollers, then they do. But if they don't, I just took a break. I was tired. But but I had to just clear out.
You gotta take a break.
I wasn't like J-Lo 1 and 2. Just kidding.
She's so silly.
So you know what? I had to search. Let me tell y'all something. Dr. Google. That's my boy right there, Dr. Google. Okay. So Psychology Today, unmarried women right now in the United States, 67%. 67%. And 64% are women with color. Women of color, I should say.
Wow.
And let me tell you some of the reasons that was posted. So a desire to be independent. Okay. And I feel like I am independent, even though I'm married, but a desire to be independent. Past relationship drama and trauma. High standards, having too high standards. Difficulty finding a compatible partner. And last, fear of commitment. Does any of those resonate with y'all?
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
All of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
And that doesn't take into account women, because there are people in the world that are not meant to be married. They don't want to get married. They're totally satisfied with not being married. This is not showing these people. And there's nothing wrong with that.
But the numbers also don't specify if they have ever been married, because something on the list you said is fear of commitment.
Correct.
And that could be stemmed from a bad divorce or abusive relationship.
Exactly.
Well, I'm kind of a commitment phobe.
So,
I am. And I don't know why. It's not because drama. My parents weren't married. My mom was a strong single woman growing up. I have felt trapped before, or think like, is this it? So I have, I'll say I fell in that category. I back up sometimes when things get too close, which is, most people say, oh, I need somebody. I'm lonely. I'm like, oh, I love my freedom. I like my space.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with that.
It takes a minute to realize, like, you know what, after that last marriage, or after people get conditioned to not wanting to go through that anymore. So they're gonna not
Or
want
used
the
to having a
commitment.
partner, so you just keep replacing her. Or there's a void, like you said. Or
Yeah.
even when I go through a breakup, what did I used to do on Saturday? The sun is shining. Now I don't have somebody to go wine tasting with or eating with. Once then you start realizing, oh, I got to find somebody to kick it with or fill that spot.
Yeah, but
up
I
too.
realize at our age, now that
Yeah.
we're older, like there's a lot of men out there too. Like we have to stop because social media will condition us to think like men ain't and men are all dogs and this, that, and the third. Everybody's a cheater and this, that, and the third. No, we have to normalize knowing that men and men of color or whoever, they do want commitment. They do want a partner. They do want a life partner or become married again. There's a lot. I want to say
there's
that.
a lot.
There's
Not
a lot.
all,
You know,
but
there's a lot that do.
there's a lot too that don't want it, but there's a lot that do want it.
Absolutely.
And so at our age, I just feel like be upfront with your intentions at the end of the day. Just be upfront. You know what I mean?
Some of those podcasts you listen to, you have to be careful because I've watched a lot of those ones with men that are very selfish. And so you have to be careful who you listen to too. Some of those men that
It worked out for me.
That's what I was gonna say. It worked out for her.
Yeah,
It
it
worked
worked out for me. But the percentages of single women are going up, and at the top is always Black women.
Yeah, well, I think that's a whole nother conversation that we
is.
have because it's not just with women. I think it's with the men too,
Yes.
and just our culture, period. But when you read those things out, like, I have no issue with any. I mean, read it off again.
Sure. Okay. Desire to be independent.
Yes.
So some women don't want
I don't
a
have to be
relationship.
independent. Okay, let's start there. I don't
You
have
can be
to.
independent and
I don't-
still
but I
be in
don't
a
have to.
relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, you can.
But
Two
that doesn't
independent
work.
people together is fabulous.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Past relationship trauma.
That's not going to stop me from getting married.
That stops a lot of people.
That stops a lot, and that's what we talked about first.
They don't want to
Right.
get married again.
Right.
They had such a bad experience.
Yeah. High standards.
Well, you should have your
You
standards.
gotta
now
be the
getting
version.
standards.
Be the version you wish to attract. So you can't have high standards if you're not high standard yourself. You know what I mean? You can't
have to have your
request
standards higher.
6 figures or this, that, and the third, and gotta have this, and you're not bringing the same quality to the table as well. So that
Difficulty finding compatible partners.
Yes, we've all experienced that.
Yeah, I would say.
it has been difficult.
It is.
It is difficult.
It's challenging.
It is difficult.
Especially it depends on the area you're into. So a lot of metropolitan cities, I could see why there's a lot
I
of struggle
disagree
in
because
that.
as soon as somebody
And
moves somewhere else,
But
they
you don't
find
allow
somebody.
that. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, when we're manifesting, it's gonna come. It may not be right when you want it, but it'll happen. You could be flying to the other side of the world and run into somebody while you get a quick cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You just never know.
So going back through that list, sorry,
and
Dr.
fair
Carmen,
commitment. Was
yeah,
the last
and
one.
fair commitment.
commitment.
I can see why but it just none of that resonated with me. That was the
Good.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, woo.
That was
We need more time. We need more time.
Right.
We have talked about so many juicy details in terms of manifesting our life partner, who we need to be, and all
That's
of that.
key.
So I think we definitely do need a part 2.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more for us to discuss.
Yes.
But per our usual, we want to leave our audience with some action items, some action steps.
Okay.
Get it together.
Absolutely.
After each episode. So
Yes.
here is our challenge to
Okay.
our audience. So let me make sure I get it right. It has 2 steps.
Okay.
So step number 1 is to reflect. And so audience, we want you to identify one small action that you can take this week to align yourself with the kind of partner you want to attract. So for example, if you want a partner who is emotionally available, ask yourself, am I creating space for emotional openness in my life? And if I'm
Love
not,
that.
what step can I take?
Love
So
it.
that's
Okay.
number 1. Step
That's
1 is
good.
to reflect.
Mhm.
Step 2 is to release and receive. Release and receive.
Deep.
And so what's involved with that is Practice letting go of past hurts.
Yes.
Yes.
Or limiting beliefs.
Hello.
Around relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Write down one belief that no longer serves you.
Mm.
For example, all the good ones is taken. Are they all gone?
They all cheaters.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta move to
And
down south to
then
buy somebody.
rewrite that belief
Mhm.
into an empowering belief.
I love
So
it.
you could reframe that and say, I am worthy of love and the right partner is seeking me too.
Come on, affirmation.
Okay.
So with those 2 steps, our amazing audience, we want you to engage in that and then also put comments. Leave comments so that you can let us know how it's going when you do these 2 steps.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we are definitely going to have a part 2 because we need to
Yes.
continue this
Yes.
conversation. It's so good and so important.
So important.
Yeah.
But before we go right now, what we want to do is give a shout out to Brother Percy Robinson of for taking care of us behind the camera and making sure that we all
Yes.
look amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And then until the next episode, be true to yourself and remember, let's
Mind our business.
Bye.